This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined for the first time in a while by Mr. Ben Shalom. Ben, how are you, first of all?
Very well, thank you very much. Good to see you, and thanks for coming.
For the first time in quite a while, it's fight week for yourself and Boxer. That must be a bit of a relief, a bit kind of exciting for you to hear this week.
Yeah, listen, it's been a few months. Obviously, the Eubank show last week was the first one since June, end of June, I believe. Simpson, and no, it's amazing to be back. Obviously, the BBC deal's something that we've been trying and working on for a while. A lot of hoops to jump through, a lot of hurdles to get over. Will it happen? Won't it happen? And now I sit here on Fight Week. It's pretty special, if I'm honest, to bring boxing onto the BBC for the first time in 20 years. I think it's a huge achievement and really important to the sport. It's something that, I said to Robert Smith about. This is really important, and it's massive. And to start with the British heavyweight title as well, it's been a long time coming, but hopefully now a show a month and we're back to it, and I can't wait. We've had to be patient to get to a point where we can announce and move forward, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we will talk about this weekend, but there's a lot to speak about. I want to go back to June, that Callum Simpson fight week. Right in the middle of fight week, the news gets leaked/dropped that Sky aren't renewing the deal. First of all, how difficult was it that week, knowing that you're meant to be promoting a show, but you had all this going on in the background?
I think people don't appreciate that it's two parties, and I think for us, there are many times in the deal where perhaps we weren't given the autonomy that we liked. We weren't able to make the decisions that we wanted to make. We weren't able to do this. I still think we did absolutely phenomenally on the budget and from a standing start in the ecosystem we had with the biggest budgets against us, and with Saudi and with everything. And we put on some phenomenal shows, but ultimately, for one door to open, another has to close, and that is a fact of life. And for us to develop as a business, for us to mature as a business, for us to do things in the way that we'd like to, things have to change, and it's been part of the journey. I think people feel like I just appeared on Sky. We did shows on. I started from Small Hall to Five Spike to ITV4 to BT Sport. I've been around, and we've done it all, and I think it was a good period. But I think for us, it's more the business has to mature as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business guy. I'm not an employee. And we want to be able to mature, and we want to be able to do deals that we want to do. We want to prove our worth. We want to prove that we're not just attached to one deal. And so of course there's been a lot of work to do. Of course, we've had timelines and strict timelines to work through. Of course, there's been a lot of noise whilst we go and do our work, but that's boxing, and to be honest, that's been the same since day one. And as I say, I am absolutely delighted and excited to be getting back to it this weekend, and a huge few months to come as well.
When we last spoke after Callum's fight, you alluded to the fact that there were a lot of deals, a lot of options for you on the table. Why BBC then?
I think we just wanted to do something different, if I'm honest. That's what it's always been about. I like to challenge ourselves. I like to do things differently. We like to disrupt, and being able to have the opportunity, and things happen for a reason in terms of people change their organisations, opportunities arise, but to have the opportunity to be the one to bring boxing back to the BBC in 20 years was absolutely enormous. I didn't think it could happen. I didn't think it would happen. And to be trusted with that is huge. To be trusted with anything on primetime Saturday night TV is massive, but particularly for an organisation with the scrutiny and the eyeballs on the BBC is absolutely enormous, and it's like nothing I've ever seen. Like even seeing the scale now, we're still getting used to and it will happen over time, still getting used to how the business works and all the different facets, all the different platforms, all the different shows, everything that we've got to try and promote the sport of boxing. It's huge. And yeah, that was something that was on the table, that if we could make right commercially, we could put the pieces in place to make sure that we can put on big shows consistently on the BBC, it can be extremely powerful. And I believe in the past few months, that's what we've been able to do. So yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, and I'm happy and excited for all the people that stuck with me as well, and all the team that had to work hard behind the scenes.
Yeah, look, I know this was meant to happen, 6 weeks ago, this fight.
Yeah.
But to have your opening fight on the national television provider, being the British heavyweight title fight that it is between Fraser Clark and Jamie TKV, it's a great start and a great booster for you at the Valiant Live on Saturday night.
It's huge. I think it's the natural fight. The British heavyweight title's got so much history. I think people understand it. Fraser Clark is a national favourite and someone that we think can cross over and be a star. Jamie TKV is coming off an extremely frustrating fight against David Adelaide, where he won that fight were it not for an illegal punch, and he'll feel he should already be British champion. But for the BBC to start off British title, it makes sense, and it's going to make noise, and it's going to make a lot of numbers.
Just want to go back to something you said earlier on in the interview, monthly shows. When you first signed, Eddie Hearn did say that it was 4 fights a year. Is that true? Is there any truth to that?
Didn't he say that it was BBC iPlayer?
He did.
And what channel are we on Saturday night?
BBC Two.
So do you think you can listen to anything that he says?
I'm asking you, Ben. I'm asking you.
But I'm just saying, I don't want to get involved in this propaganda nonsense that all these YouTube channels are. It's just a load of nonsense, isn't it?
But it's more than 4 fights.
We'll be doing a show every month, I believe. Might have a break in the summer so that I can go and have a rest. We might have a break in the summer, but other than that, the goal, the aim is a show each month, and that starts in November, December, January, and then we move on from there.
That's good to hear. We want shows, especially on the BBC, and it does start, as we said, live on BBC Two Saturday night with Jamie TKV and Fraser Clark. However, there is a show clash, Ben, with your former fighter, Ben Whittaker. Is that a kick in the teeth for you?
Not really. I'm focused very much on this. I think different audiences and different things. I think for us, we have a massive fight on Saturday night, a real fight, a British heavyweight title on the national broadcast, and that's the focus. I think it's, as I say, I think this is a huge moment for the sport. Sometimes we're in an ecosystem, we're in a bubble, we don't see everything, but the sport needs oxygen, and it needs big events. It needs big events in front of big eyeballs, and you're not going to get much bigger than this. And so that's my focus. It's a lot can go right on Saturday night, so I've got to keep my eye on the ball.
Were you disappointed not to re-sign Ben Whittaker?
Look, I don't, to be honest, even want to speak about that situation. I think good luck to him. But as I say, our business has to focus on what we're delivering on Saturday night and the nights that we have coming up. And as I say, it's an honour, but it's a pressure and a privilege, to be the promoter on the BBC in a time like this. There's a lot to do, but that's what we're focused on, and as I say, I think it's going to be huge for the sport.
Someone also you're not working with anymore, but has been incredibly complimentary towards you. I want to point that out before I ask you about him. Is Joshua Buatsi. He's now signed with Frank Warren, but before his fight against Zach Parker, I did ask him about the split, and he said Ben done his job, and I fulfilled my obligations. So yeah, you and Joshua Buatsi, that working relationship over, but fond memories and great night, especially that Dan Aziz night. It was fantastic.
Look, it's hard sometimes, but there's work and then there's personal, and I think I like to see the human being behind everyone, and I think that's probably where that comes from with Josh. It is what it is, and every situation is different. Certain situations you might feel hard done to. Certain situations you don't. Certain situations a fighter treats you with respect and honesty, and that is what it is. So every situation is different. At the end of the day, the only two people in a relationship that really know whatever happens is the two people that are in it, and that's the way that I like it to be. And I'm not going to talk badly about any fighter. Josh Buatsi, outside of boxing, is a good person, and as I believe has good values, and I'm not gonna say anything bad about him. Ultimately, as I say, every situation is very, very different, um, and yeah, things change in boxing all the time.
Let's go back to 10 days ago, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Before we talk about Junior, Adam Azim looked great. He looked really, really good, and it's going to be a big, big year for him in 2026.
Listen, it's a massive year, but it also was a massive statement. I think for me, making Adam Azim a global star, but also known in the States, was a huge opportunity, especially with Kurt Scobie coming in so highly rated. A lot of Americans actually tipped him for the fight. So when they see Adam Azim dismantle him and put on a boxing masterclass after a bit of time out the ring as well, I think it was phenomenal. And for me, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I think he's the most talented fighter that we have coming through in this country. And he'll prove that at every single level. He'll headline on BBC Two, I believe, on January the 31st, which will be a massive opportunity, massive breakout moment. He's already a star, but to become, a household name, and that's the goal. But yeah, phenomenal talent, phenomenal performance. Richard Riakpo also looks absolutely enormous at the weight and can be a really real problem in the heavyweight division. I look back and think how did he ever make cruiserweight? So it was a very good night for those two, a really good night for those two, and big fights in the future.
It wasn't to be for Chris. He admitted himself from the first round.
Yeah.
He felt he could do it, but it wasn't there. He alluded to there being problems away from boxing in the post-fight press conference. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you what they were, but was you aware that there were problems going into that fight?
I'm not going to speak out of turn. I think anyone with a brain can see that wasn't Chris Eubank Jr. and we can all put it down to this, that, whatever. It wasn't him. And for me, he needs to make sure it is him, and that's going to take work when he next steps in the ring. But that wasn't him. And credit to Conor Benn because he got his night. But for anyone for a second who thinks that was Chris Eubank Jr., they know. You look at the punch stats, I think he was throwing 30% of what he could last time. And listen, it was an unfortunate and difficult night, but proud of him for getting in the ring, for getting through the rounds, and for giving us another huge spectacle for British boxing.
I spoke to you days after the first fight, and you said you were proud of him then for even getting in the ring. There were certain things going on. Was it the same sort of situation going into this?
I'm not going to speak on it, but as you said, what he did that first fight was superhuman. For me, what I will say is the rehydration clauses need to go. And yeah, fighter dictates their weight because ultimately they're prize fighters, and when they get offered something, they'll take it. And it doesn't matter. People can say, "Well, you should do your job." It's not my fucking choice what fighter weight, what weight a fighter wants to weigh in. You can say anything, but that is it. And for me, rehydration clauses should be banned from the sport. And that will maybe going forward, if there ever was a third fight, then there couldn't be a rehydration clause involved. And I think in any fight that goes on again, I think even in this country, but for Chris, there won't be a rehydration clause.
Two quick things. Do you think there will be a third fight?
I think it all depends. Look, for me, I do think there will be, because I think Chris at full fitness and full health will want to put that right. You know, he's got to live with that. He's got to deal with that. But it has to be in the right environment now that where the weight makes sense and there isn't a rehydration clause, and other things have to make sense as well. Conor got his night, but it's 1-1, and we all know that wasn't Chris in the second fight.
Last one. Is there any possibility, if that trilogy fight does happen, it could be at £168?
I think so. Because weight shouldn't be coming into this, and we shouldn't be using weight to disadvantage a fighter. I don't think that should ever be done in boxing. And I think Conor will want to prove, perhaps in his eyes, that it was never about weight. So, look, let's see. A lot's happened. Dust needs to settle. Chris needs to recover properly. And he'll need time to do that, and we'll see what happens in the new year.
Whatever happens, you believe we will see Chris Eubank Jr. in the ring again? He's not going to go out like that?
Absolutely. But as I say, this time he needs the time to recover, so that when we next see him in the ring, we recognise the fighter that we've watched for many, many years.
Ben Shalom, thank you very much for being to IFLTV. We look forward to seeing BBC Two from 9 PM, is that right?
BBC iPlayer from 6 o'clock, okay. BBC Two from 8 o'clock. A huge night, a huge new dawn for British boxing, and make sure you tune in.
Ben Shalom, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All good.